he introduced you to me. I felt a connection with you right away, and I thought, let's see what we can do together. And so now we have this show, which is wonderful. So if you could share a little bit about yourself in terms of your work as a coach and a consultant. You've worked at some of the biggest organizations in the world, helping people to transform. And I'd like to just spotlight you and hear more about that.
Yeah, actually, my career started like anyone else, school, university, and then I started in the industry in different places. And after a while, I left the industry because I always wanted to do my own stuff. So I founded different enterprises in different areas, and I had to train and lead my staff, my people. So I was looking for external trainers and external coaches. And to be honest, I was not happy about the results. So a lot of people told me some theories and different topics. So I trained my staff by myself. I went to different courses. I trained myself to become a trainer and coach. And then the career started as a trainer and coach. And luckily, a lot of international big companies hired us, me and my team. And the focus on what we are doing is, my mission is to make this world a better place for people, especially managers, people in sales who work really hard. And I want them to come home after your job every day and being fulfilled, being happy, without any burnout or any other issues. So they have really time and energy to spend their time with their beloved ones, their wife, their kids, or whatever. So that's my mission. Yeah.
That's a fantastic mission, and I'm so glad that you are here to let everybody know about the work that you're doing. Now, let's also talk about the beautiful place where you live.
Yeah, actually, I came on this island on Mallorca. Well, I came here by accident, to be honest. So it was as a kid, I come from a small country, from Austria, in the middle of Europe. It's a very beautiful but small country. And actually, around 105 years ago, more or less, we lost World War I, so we lost access to the sea. And I love the sea. I don't know, maybe in my former lives I lived on the seaside, I don't know. It was always my dream to live on the seaside. So 14 years ago, I made a decision, or I was able to leave my country from Austria and to move to this beautiful island of Spain. It was not my first choice, but I'm very happy here and I feel very comfortable here. It's a beautiful island, it's safe, it's clean. And what I really love here is so international. I meet so many people from all over the world, from the US, from South America to Russia to Europe. So it's a very multicultural island and very good energy here.
And I did see a little bit about your space, your property where you live. And I'm imagining that being in that kind of environment, being on that island that is multicultural, that is surrounded by water, that it must be so good for your mental health.
Absolutely. Before the pandemic, I had to travel a lot to see my clients. Now it's more remotely. We do a lot of virtual stuff, but in the past I was traveling all the time, and sometimes I only came back to the island for 24 hours. But it was so re-energized and so reconnected to myself, just to be on the seaside, to breathe the fresh air, to walk around on this island, and especially this place where we live on this island, where we also offer it to people who organize retreats and workshops. So I feel really good, and I feel very, very, very grounded. That's very important for me. I always say, with your legs on the ground, with your arms, with your hands in the air. So it's important when you travel a lot, when you be very creative, when you challenge and support your customers. I guess it's very important to really reconnect and be grounded. And that's what I have here.
Absolutely. I'm very happy for you. I hope I get to come and visit someday. That would be fantastic.
Would be great. Would be great. You're very welcome.
Thank you. And I know we're going to talk today about being able to express ourselves and how to come through dark times, how to get through negative energy. And you've brought a guest today, a friend of yours, who is going to join us in that conversation. If you would share a little bit about Bill Wilton before we bring him out.
Yeah, actually, Bill is for me just an amazing friend, and I call him a brother. And the funny thing is, we just met in person 2 weeks ago for 4 days. We spent here in Europe on the island, We met last year on an online workshop. So I joined an online workshop because I still learn, I still study, because I strongly believe when you stop learning, you die. So I still study, I still learn, and I had the chance last year to join an online course with a US trainer, and Bill was there online. And for the beginning, there was a very, very good energy from the beginning. So we had, I guess, almost weekly conversations since then. And finally, 2 weeks ago, on his trip to the Ukraine, he was teaching in the Ukraine. Maybe he can talk a little bit about what he's doing there. On the way back from the Ukraine to the US, he came to my house so we could meet in person. We had 4 very intense, amazing times, and a lot of good conversations. It was absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic. I'm going to bring him out. I want to also talk about the fact that you met online, but actually finally connected in person, because I think that many of us are in a similar situation and thinking, oh my gosh, if I could only meet that person, what would it be like? So you've actually done it. So let's bring out Mr. Bill Wilton joining us from Oregon. Hello.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Bill. Good to see you.
Good to be seen, and good to see you, brother.
Thanks, brother.
So, Bill, as you heard probably backstage, Roland was just teeing up how you two met. And I'd like to just start off before we get into your work. What was that like to meet online and then actually be together in person?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dr. Jacalyn. And it was it's interesting because, as Roland suggested, there was a good energy. And I don't know, Roland, what were there, 15 or 20 people in our training? And you kind of naturally gravitate, your mindset, your spirit kind of naturally gravitates to particular people. And I would say Roland and I identified each other as people that got along. And of course, as he mentioned, we probably talk on a weekly basis for the last year and a half. We do some work together online. And then to actually meet each other in person and to meet his partner was really wonderful, to see their home, to see their dogs, to see where they live their life. And I would say it certainly didn't it didn't really surprise me, because I felt like I had known him so well by the time we actually met. He just, when you're authentic and you're real, that you just reveal yourself as you truly are.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And I want to ask both of you, although I already know the answer, but for our audience, were there any expectations that you had when you were meeting in person? Because how sometimes we think that it's going to be this way or it's going to be that way, or maybe we go in with a completely open mind.
Yeah, I was expecting him to pick me up from the airport, and I'm glad he did. Because I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't done that.
So expectations were met, A+.
Yeah, that's right. He exceeded the expectations. I can say that he is an amazing cook. I just had some amazing food when I was in Mallorca, and while we shared a really, I would say, I've traveled a lot in my life. I've eaten a lot of good food in my life. We shared a restaurant. He shared a restaurant with me up in the mountains of Mallorca that I'd say puts it in the top 5 dining experiences in my life. But all the other food, the best food I had in Mallorca, came from Roland's kitchen.
Wow, Roland, do tell. What were you preparing?
For the first, we had Lubinian sal. It's a cypress, a wild catch cypress, a large one, and I prepare it totally in salt, and you bake it in the oven for 1.5 hours. So without any herbs, without salt, and it's fresh. It tastes like fresh sea, and it has almost no calorie because you don't use any oil or fat or something like that.
Mm. Did you catch this fish?
No, unfortunately not, because the fish came from the other side, from Spain, from the Atlantic coast. But it would be good. I love fishing, but this fish was not my catch. No, it was my catch on the market.
It sounds delicious. Wonderful. Well, so let's move into the work that you do, Bill. How would you describe yourself?
Well, it's an interesting question, because I've worn a lot of hats in my life, and not long ago, there's a local coffee shop, community center here that you you can sponsor a brick, you can buy a brick and put whatever you want on there. And I did that, and I described myself as a son, a brother, a pastor, a coach, and a friend. And I would say that's my life work, to be all of those things. And that shows differently. I'm not trying to be a brother or a son or a pastor to everybody. Those who want a guide and a shepherd, I'm there. Sometimes people just want a coach or a friend to journey with them. So that's what I've done, and I've done it professionally now for over 24 years.
Congratulations. It's very exciting.
Yeah, thank you. I do some other things. I have a vacation rental that I host people, and I'm a real estate broker, and I've done some other things in business. But really, the thing that I want to, what I've done in business won't impact the world nearly as much, I hope, as the way that I've been able to touch lives on my journey.
I love that. Roland, over to you.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yes, I said over to you. I know you have some questions you wanted to ask Bill as well.
Yeah, brother. Because I know a little bit about your story, and I know that you're very passionate about, especially to support men in their maturity, in becoming better husband, but becoming a better father, a better son, because we all know that men are really struggling. Most of us are wounded from the past. They are aware of it or unaware. So you have a really huge passion for that. And I guess you're a co-founder of organization or of a beauty group. It's called Sparing for Men. So can you talk a little bit about what's the purpose of this?
Yeah, Sparing for Men, of course, is an interesting title. As the title implies, right? Sparring is something that you do in training for the fight, right? There's give and take. The sparring partner is one who will test your mettle, if you will. And in Sparring for Men, we want a place where men can be authentic, can be real, can to talk with one another in an open, honest, clear, responsible way about their lives and about their relationships, and not just talk about themselves, but then to become friends along on the journey and speak into each other's lives. And so Sparring for Men was really created as a place where men could have an environment to be authentic and be real and to be masculine and not be ashamed about that. But then also have this give and take. We might have to say something that's difficult to somebody else. Be honest with someone, how they're landing, how they're showing up in the conversation. But we really want to create a space where men know that they're not alone in the journey. Sometimes in relationships and or in the workplace, men can feel super isolated. And, I think historically our gender hasn't done a great job of expressing themselves and their feelings. And so we want a place where men can just be authentic and real and talk about the issues that they face, whether those are issues in their home and their relationship, in the workplace, with their kids, with their parents, in the world around them, and to know that you're not on the journey alone. So that's what Sparring for Men is all about.
Absolutely. Thank you. Because I don't know how do you see it, but the last 50, 60 years, everything was about feminism, but it's a very good movement. But what I see is that many men feel insecure, more defensive. They don't know how to react. And most of them don't feel really masculine or feel as a man. I read a book a few months ago. It was by John Eldridge. The title is Wild at Heart. And just in the beginning, and on the first page, he's writing, what every man should do is, what is saying? Keep it in mind. Yeah, what he's saying is fight a battle. So fight all the challenges you have in life, live an adventure, and rescue beauty. So what do you think, Bill, why is this group needed in the world to support men?
Yeah, I think that's I'm familiar with that book by John Eldridge, Wild at Heart. It really is an awesome book. And as you rightly note, right, often my experience in life and my observation is that the pendulum swings from side to side. And often that pendulum swings back in a positive, healthy way, but then it swings too far, right? And for the last, whether it's 30 or 50 or 60 years, there's been this hyper focus on feminism and the feminine side, even within men. And in most recent days, we hear a lot about masculinity, but it's usually more in the area of toxic masculinity. Well, the question is, who are we created to be? Who are we really as men? The reality is we have different hormones flowing through our body, and it causes us to be a certain way. And what is healthy masculinity look like? What is a masculinity that isn't toxic, that is strong and loving and confident? A masculinity that at times can be tender and authentic and transparent, but also supportive and protective and strong. So one of our goals is to create a space where men can explore what that looks like. Sometimes in their relationship, especially I notice in relationships in the United States, there is certainly an expectation that men are going to tamp down their masculinity, or they're going to silence it or put it away. And it's a little bit like holding beach balls under the water. You can hold one beach ball under the water fairly effectively. I might be able to hold 2 beach balls under the water, but the more beach balls you add, it's impossible. And if they start popping up, they often don't pop up in healthy and in effective ways that support our relationships or our job performance. And so we just really want, Aspiring for Men, we want men to really be able to talk about masculinity. What's that look like? What's male sexuality? It's not exactly like female sexuality. It expresses itself differently, and men and women have different expectations and needs, and those are played out in every aspect of our relationship. So, Inspiring for Men, we want to talk about those things. Why are we the way we are? Who shaped us? So really, that purpose for Aspiring for Men is really to give a really safe place to have these conversations. And for men, sometimes men are exploring these things for the first time in their life, and they're coming into their 60s, and they haven't really even thought about these things.
Absolutely.
So many important points that you just mentioned there, Bill. And I'm just wondering, to your last statement, what is that like for someone who's in their 60s and they haven't expressed themselves? It's all been pushed down, all those decades of feelings. It must be sort of like a volcano erupting. And I'm just wondering how much fear is involved in coming forward and sharing.
Yeah, well, since I'm not quite yet in my 60s, I'm getting ever closer though. I don't know from a personal experience, but I can tell you from what I have observed. And in our times, in our format, which we meet online in Zoom on the first and the third Saturdays of the month, we've had a number of guys. Sometimes it's a smaller group, sometimes it's a larger group, but we've had men who are opening up for the first time, discussing the effects of sexual abuse or physical abuse in their families. And the impact that has on their relationship now. We've had whether it's men who are expressing anger openly in a safe place and in a safe way, or the sadness, just the grieving of what has happened to them, or maybe what hasn't happened to them because of abuse or different things. So we've had tears flowing in those times as well. And so you're like you say, a volcano. It's the beach ball effect under the water. We just simply cannot. It's not healthy for the human being to stuff down our emotions. Not every emotion needs to be expressed all the time in every way and in every location. But we need to have a healthy perspective on those emotions, and we want to give that to guys an opportunity to share those things, those fears. Even men don't even. We in the United States, I'm sure, Jacalyn, you've seen this bumper sticker, "No fear," on the back of cars. I don't know if they do that in Europe or not, but you see this usually on a pickup truck in the United States. No fear. Well, that's just simply a lie. We all have fears, whether it's a fear of death or the fear of not having lived my life and not made the impact or fulfilled my purpose, not found my calling or my vocation, not have not loved the way I should, was not loved the way I wanted to be loved. We have fears. And so let's just dispel the myth and the lie, and let's be honest with each other. Let's talk about that. And that's really what we want to provide for
Absolutely. Bill, a question. In preparation of the show, I came over a study from an Austrian therapist to this worldwide study about men. And what really astounded me that he said that more than 80% of men in this study said they don't have a best friend, meaning they don't have a male best friend, not just having a beer and fun, meaning to really have an open conversation about their inner world. So, is this what you also experience in the group?
Oh, absolutely. Isolation. Well, I'm sure it's also true for women in its own unique way. But I think because women tend to be, this is a generalization, of course, but women tend to be more relational, so they gravitate to their sisters and their friends to share their inner life. Men tend to isolate. And there's been so much in the past, so much shame connected on whether it's expressing emotion or saying I love you to another man. Like what does that say about my sexuality? If I hug a guy or if I'm, whatever, how I express love, how I share love, how I receive love. There's so many different unhealthy perspectives on that it's led to this weird isolation. And of course, in COVID, right, this just exacerbated because now we're social distancing and we're covering our faces and we're online. So how do you, and not in person? So how do you really come out of that isolation and experience life? And I would argue that as human beings, we're created for relationship. I'm a pastor, right? So I'm coming from a traditional Christian perspective, but I believe that we're created in the image of God for relationship. That's what it means to be a healthy human being, is to live in relationship. And so, how can we help men to recognize their need for that? And then, as we talk with them and as they talk, how do they become people who own that need for relationship? And then, of course, if you want friends, you got to be friendly.
Yeah, I mean, as our generation has been trained, maybe by our parents or in school, that showing emotions meaning to be weak, and men are very competitive. So, do you think it's easier for men to open themselves within just a man's group?
Well, and what we've experienced is that there, and I can think of one of our members who's very consistent. He's been very consistent, and he's not very naturally open. It's been very difficult for him, and he's kind of one of these guys, kind of the E.F. Hutton. He doesn't say much, but when he does, it's typically kind of a deep thought and it's a meaningful piece. But you can just tell over the time that he has become more and more confident with opening up. But yeah, I would say it's not natural for most guys. I mean, I'm an outgoing guy. Roland's an outgoing guy, but you put a lot of guys in a room and they're gonna take a step back and let others do all the talking. And there's good things about, talking less and listening more. We all need to learn that balance. But in this group, we really want to encourage guys to open up, and so there's that normal trust building experience that happens with men, and that's important. But I think most people that participate with us find that it is a safe place to be real. And how do you know that it's a safe place to be real? Because another guy is telling his story, and he's telling them things that's might be pretty embarrassing, right? He's talking about his experience of being sexually abused, or his divorce, or his journey of getting fired or laid off, things that no one is proud of and wants to talk about in public. But as we're authentic about the the dark times of life and how we find strength in that. It encourages others to be authentic and real and open as well.
Sounds like an incredible program, and I really appreciate you going into depth about it. I've got many questions for you. We have to take a break, but something I'd like to come back in on for both of you, if this is okay, is throughout our lives, we have things happen to us, but we have to keep going because we have a job or we have a family or whatever the situation is. So we look at the situation and we say, okay, this is painful, but I can't deal with it right now. I'm going to push it down. I'm going to put it over here. It's going to be on a shelf. I'll come back and pick it up. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are. How do we go through what we need to go through, even though we still have a life and responsibilities and expectations that are on us? Does that sound like a good place to come back in?
Awesome.
All right, fantastic. We are actually going to take a look at a clip that I've been playing a lot lately because it has a lot of significance to me. I want to thank Ian Pelham-Turner and Helena Shard from the UK for sharing this with us. It's called the Earth Shot Prize, and then we'll be right back. Stay with us here.
Ours is a world of wonder. Every day it reminds us of its beauty. It touches us, teaches us, and astounds us. But it also warns us that what we throw away does not go away. That higher temperatures mean a lot more than longer summers. That we can no longer take life as we know it for granted. We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that. We face a series of unprecedented...
When all my broken sneakers started to pile up in the wardrobe, I realized that we have a problem. Sneakers are made from plastics, and plastic is not mendable. My name is Philip, and I'm one of the founders of Our Choice Fashion. How many times did this happen to you? How can eco sneakers save the world when they break after only a few months and we have to buy pair after pair that breaks? We are here to give you the solution, a choice for truly sustainable fashion in the world's first circular sneakers. On average, we all buy 3 pairs of sneakers each and every year. This adds up to 25 billion sneakers per year, of which most end up in landfills. This adds up to 350 million tons of CO2 emissions, the same amount as for the country of Italy or the state of California. So we started to develop a product that would have all the old-fashioned qualities. It is mendable, it has a classic design, and it has a natural comfort. Because we chose the best designer there is, Mother Nature. The sneakers get more and more comfortable the more you wear them. Made from vegetable tan leather and natural latex from the rubber tree, the sneakers are both sustainable and comfortable. These sneakers are made from pure raw materials that are both fully biodegradable and fully recyclable. The best thing here really is that when your sneakers need an upgrade, you just send them right back to us using the same bag that you got them delivered in. We then resole your sneakers, put on a fresh pair of laces, and give them a nice new polish. This means that you can wear your sneakers for many years to come. Our sneakers are more than sneakers. They are a circular function, and we developed a smart pull for you to step into your sneakers without stepping down the heel. This means that you get a truly sustainable grip. We've got a fully circular business model, and that's why we'll only produce sneakers on your demand. Book your product now and get that sustainable grip at a discount. We've been on this amazing journey for 2 years, and now we're inviting you to also make a choice for truly sustainable fashion. Try the world's first circular sneakers. 100% plastic free, and I can promise you that our choice will be your companion for many years to come.
Hello and welcome back, and thank you to our sponsor, Philip Westerland from Our Choice Fashion. It's all about sustainability here today. You're watching USA Global TV or listening on Business Talk Radio, and our show is the Mallorca Connection. And here's the connector himself, and I'm so glad that you're here today, Roland. Thank you. And your wonderful guest, Bill. Before we took the break, I just threw out this question because it's something that comes to mind for me on a regular basis, is when we're going through something that's really emotional or something that's going to be life-changing, how do we deal with it at the same time that we still have to keep going with our lives? Who wants to take a stab at that? Roland?
I can start. Actually, actually, this is something that we face this every lives we face this. Sometimes some people more often than others. But remember Captain Sellenberg, who landed the plane safely on the Hudson River, and for me, he really summarized it on the point. He said, "Aviate, navigate, communicate." Meaning, first of all, don't crash it. Yeah. Keep going. Don't crash your life, your business, your relationship. Don't crash it. So keep aviating, fly. Secondly, navigate. Look for direction, where you can go or you have to go. Yeah, look for opportunities, choices, and then communicate what you have to communicate. And I guess this is really helpful. So, but first of all, is aviate. Don't crash it. Keep going. Find a direction where you can go and communicate. Meaning, talk to other people. What your issue is. Ask for help. Most people are really afraid because they think it's weak to ask for help. So aviate, navigate, communicate. That's my advice.
Excellent. Thank you, Roland. Bill, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think I would have two thoughts. My initial knee-jerk reaction is the initial three F's to face a struggle or challenge in life: family, friends, and faith. Of course, we are often, many of us are blessed with wonderful families, and that's great. Of course, not everyone is. Some of our families, well, I would say all of our families are dysfunctional in their own unique ways, but sometimes those are so bad that our families can't be there for us. Sometimes our families are the source of darkness in our life and the challenge that we face. So in those times, I think healthy friendships are really, really important. As I said, I think we're created for relationship. And we need people to speak into our life and to come alongside us. Sometimes I need people to carry me. Sometimes I'm not capable of doing what I need to do. And so I literally need someone to carry me along. It's kind of that footprints in the sand kind of idea, right? That we have with our friends. And of course, then it's not just our friends, but I obviously, as a Christian pastor, have a faith perspective, but regardless of one's spiritual outlook on life, I don't know how people. And it's rhetorical, right? I just don't know how people go through this life without an understanding that there is a higher power, that there is God, there's some expression of power in sovereignty and providence in this human experience, and that for me is a lot of strength. So that's my first part of the answer. My second part is within each individual, I believe that God has created us with this unique, these unique talent things. that make us so. Now, why we are the way we are, whether it's our birth order, or our education, or our culture, or our religion, or our family background. Um, Dr. Jacalyn has one, Roland has one, I have one. We all have these unique natural talent things, and I think the better we understand ourselves and the things that have created us, the more we can take those natural talent things and turn them into areas of strength in our life that we can then bring to bear in the challenges that we face. And that's a pretty exciting thing for me to be able to see people become aware of those things that are strengths that are given them that they maybe didn't even recognize that they had, and that can be not just a crutch through a difficult time, but actually a strength that they bring to bear on a challenge or a weakness in life.
Thank you so much. All really relevant points that I think are definitely helpful for people watching or listening. So I just want to go over to Roland, what you shared, and I like that plane analogy as well. So sometimes people, they crash. It's the first step. They just crash. And I think a lot of that has to do sometimes with fear of judgment, of if I share, I will be judged. Even if I pray to whatever higher power that maybe something bad will happen because this bad thing happened and I made a decision that I shouldn't have made, whatever the case may be. So how does somebody get past the fear of the judgment, the fear of rejection by sharing?
That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. How to get past of this fear? Well, first of all, I mean, there are different ways. First of all, is we have to realize what are we afraid of for? Why we are afraid? What happened in the past? Why we are so afraid what other people think about ourselves? Why do we have so much external reference instead of having an internal reference that I am good, I'm good enough like I am? Yeah. I guess the first thing that we have to learn is that I am good enough as I am. I'm really good. God created me and I'm good enough. Maybe I want to learn this and learn this. Maybe I want to improve this, but I'm good enough as a person. And I guess for most people, when I found out when my coaching session is that something happened in their past, especially for men, that they believe they're not good enough because they never had been, they never get the feedback from the father. Father was missing. Maybe he was in the house, but not really present. So most men suffering from not really having a present father who tell them that they're good and not being like a mom does. Mom always says, you're nice, you're lovely, you do this and this. But a man also need a father who says, yeah, you're a brave guy, you're a cool guy, this was damn good. We all need this to know that we are a masculine being as a man. I strongly believe. And then the other thing is when we realized it is, like Bill, going into a group and join this group, and maybe when you're not such an open person, just step into this group and just listen. We also can learn from example from others and relate to it. And maybe when we trust and build up trust, that we open and we start talking about our inner world. But I guess it's very helpful in the beginning just to listen and being clear that I'm not the only one who has fear. I'm not the only one who faces challenges. Yeah, mostly men believe that all others are superheroes, but I'm just the one who is failing. But that's not true. We all face challenges. Everybody's facing challenges. I guess that's the point. Go for some help. Maybe read a good book, or join this amazing platform.
Thank you, Roland. I know I lead a support group and I've been doing it for a few years. And when someone new comes into the group, they might not want to share anything. So they might be there, while we're on Zoom now instead of in person, and they're just not saying anything. And I'll ask them if they'd like to share, and they might say no, but then they come back maybe a second, a third, a fourth time, and finally they feel comfortable. So Bill, you've done a great job of creating an atmosphere where people obviously feel safe. How did you do that?
Well, I think, first of all, for those of us who are in a group, we just need to be honest, right? It's open, honest, clear, responsible communication. We need to be authentic and real. And I think the number one way people feel safe is by those who are leading the group modeling what authentic honesty looks like. And if I pretend to be a perfect human being who's never faced any challenges, then people don't want to speak up because I mean, after all, the leader of this group doesn't have any problems and he's never faced any problems. But when we reveal at a healthy level, I mean, obviously you can go overboard and make it all about you and your problems, and that's not healthy either, right? But to in a balanced way, just to be authentic and real about your own challenge and your own struggle, and then where you found strength and help, whether that was in family or faith or friendship or wherever you got that help. That kind of honesty just simply models life. And, I think this is the thing that we need to be doing in our family relationships with our marriages and our children and our relationships, modeling for one another what it means just to live authentically and honestly, so that others around us can feel comfortable in sharing what they're facing.
Yes, wonderful. I agree with that. Roland, anything you'd like to comment on from Bill's comment?
No, but maybe I guess maybe Bill, you want to explain a little bit what is the format, how you're doing this? Because maybe some men said, hey, that's an opportunity for me to learn more about myself, to become a better man, to feel better in my job, in my relationship or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
What are you expecting?
So our format is that we meet twice a month on the first and the third Saturdays of the month. We meet on Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. I mean, sometimes there's a couple guys in the same city, but they're still on Zoom. So it doesn't matter if you're over the seas or wherever. On Saturday, on the first and third Saturday of the month, we meet on Zoom at 8 o'clock Pacific time, which is 11 in the East. Not sure what the translation would be to Europe. That's later in the afternoon or early evening in Europe. We have currently, Aspiring for Men has an English group that meets on Saturdays. There's a German-speaking group. A couple of our members actually are fluent in Spanish. We have the opportunity to expand into in the Spanish language if there's interest and opportunity for that. And we just sometimes we have a set topic where we're going to either have a guest speaker. John Christian, who I know Dr. Jacalyn knows and Roland knows, has been a guest speaker with us in the past. Other guest speakers we've discussed like trauma triangle and how to deal with invitation to enter into someone else's trauma. We sometimes have a very open format. Sometimes there's one of our members recently, his father passed away and his father had a very powerful, as our fathers tend to, have a very powerful impact on his life. But in his case, it was not a positive one. It left him wanting, and he was really wrestling with where his dad was and what he wasn't feeling around his father's death. And so there's all kinds of topics that we discuss. It's sometimes it's an open forum, and we share with what we're going through at work or in our relationships. Other times we have a planned conversation or a guest speaker. Okay.
Bill, you said you're a Christian pastor, meaning that everybody has a Christian background, or is it multicultural? Or
well, I am a Christian pastor, and absolutely not everyone shares my faith or my perspective on life. I'd say it's a very diverse group. It's diverse in age. It's diverse. We have people born in the United States, people who are born in other countries, different perspectives and experiences with sexuality. So we have you don't have to tick off certain boxes to be part of our group. We're very welcoming, and we just allow people to come and meet us where we are with the way they are.
Okay, so it's open to every man.
Any man, that's right.
Okay.
Bill, I'm wondering for our audience members who may be carrying around something that's weighing them down and they haven't shared with anyone, how do they know that what they share will stay within the group?
Well, of course, we have a verbal commitment to to confidentiality as would be appropriate and typical for a group like that. And of course, just because we say that doesn't mean that everyone necessarily feels that safety. And that's why we just invite people to come and check it out. Come and sit through a session or two. Make a 6-week commitment. Meet with us 3 times, and then you determine how much you want to share. Some people come in and feel comfortable right away to share what they're going through. Other people need to test the water, and that's just normal and natural. So my invitation is try it and see.
And Bill, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that, and there's no cost to that. There's through the end of the year, there's no cost to participating with us. We may go to a fee structure in the future, but through the end of the year, there's no cost at all. So people can join us free of charge.
Wonderful. And I was just going to mention that there might be people watching now based on their availability, or people could be watching on the replay. It's going to be out there forever. So I'm just wondering if you can share what the process is for people to join this group. What's the first step? They go to your website, they contact you via email. What would you like?
Yeah, so they can email us and office at Sparring for Men, and that's the number 4men.com, and we'll send them a Zoom invitation if they're interested. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook at Sparring for Men, the number 4 men, and just send us a request. Say they'd like to join us. We'll include them in the Zoom invitation, and then they just pop into the Zoom room at the right time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Bill. It's been a pleasure having you here, and congratulations on everything that you're doing. I think you're doing very important work.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jacalyn, and blessings to you as you continue to make an impact in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I wish I could attend. I would be hopping on that Zoom link. So it's fantastic. All right. Just for people who are wanting the contact information again, I just want to spell Sparring for Men. So it's SPARRING, the number 4 MEN.com. And I see somebody just joined us here on Facebook with a question. So you can go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV, and you can watch this from the very beginning anytime you want. All right. Thank you again, Bill. It's been a real pleasure, and we look forward to having you back on a future show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Bill.
He was a wonderful guest, and I can see how you two get along so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Bill said, it's all about being authentic and honest, and that's all about in life.
And I think something else I would like our audience to take away from this is that during this pandemic, an online opportunity, you wanted to grow your knowledge because you really believe in that, and I agree as well. And you met somebody, Bill, who's in another country, another part of the world, and there you are on a screen, and then you actually got to meet in person and now did a show together. So for people out there, step out of the box, step out of your comfort zone, and see what else is out there for you, because you never know where the next connection is going to take you in terms of your heart, maybe your dreams, your desires, the ability to give back, the ability to share. Roland, what would you add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can absolutely agree to that. Stay open. Just stay open, and the universe has so much to offer, but you never know when it will be offered. So stay open, and you always get surprised how many wonderful people, how many touching moments we'll have in life, and yeah, be blessed for that.
Thank you, Roland. And we've got some great people coming forward on future shows. You're doing a wonderful job in bringing people to the platform. So we'll be back next week. Anything you want to share about next week's guest, or do you want to have everybody wait?
Yeah, next week I bring a very good friend from who is just from the island, a Mallorcan friend who traveled the world, who has a lot of knowledge about traveling and tourism and what tourism can be in the future, traveling will be in the future. So it will be, I guess, a very interesting conversation with Juan Jose Calvo next Thursday.
Thank you, Roland. And while I have you on Spotlight, can you please share your contact information and the best way for people to reach you?
Well, the simplest way is to go on our website. It's www.spartner, I spell it SPARRTNER minus performance, PERFOMANCE.com. For listen on the radio station, and watch out for Roland Friedl on the contact form. Send me an email. I'm very happy to answer you whatever you want to know. Just contact me, and we always find a way to communicate and make this world a better place.
Thank you, Roland. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this show with you. And thank you so much to Bill. I really appreciate meeting him. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Roland.
Me too. And as always, I said, it's an honor and a pleasure together with you to make this world a better place. Thank you so much.
And thank you to our friend John Christian for the introduction.
Absolutely. I'm very pleased for that. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you later. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, whether you're watching on the live or you're watching on the replay, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, whether you're on Business Talk Radio, whether you're on Apple, Pandora, Spotify, TuneIn. We are just thrilled to have your loyalty as we grow our platform and bring people from across the world who are sharing their story, people who have one thing in common, and that is that we all care about other people, helping lift other people up. So I appreciate you being part of this incredible journey. I do want to share something exciting in case you haven't heard, is that for me personally, my personal branding, I am the listening mentor. I'm also a certified life coach, career coach, meditation, and yoga instructor. So I have this amazing series that I put together. It's called The Power of Listening. It's a 3-part series. And the reason I'm so excited about it is because I feel like a lot of times in my life, I wasn't listened to, and it had an impact on my self-esteem. And so I felt really badly about myself, and I was always trying to ring the bell and get this accomplishment, that degree, this certification. And I never was really taking a stop to look at what was really going on. Those accomplishments were great, but why did I always have this quest for more and more and more? And it was because I felt like no one was listening to me and I had something to say. So I created these courses in my mind to really help bring us closer to world peace. And that might sound ridiculous, but it's really not, because I feel like if we learn how to listen to each other, then there's going to be a lot more peace in the world. So I created these courses that I feel a relatively reasonable price point, which is $47 or $30 if you get on the early bird special. And I'm even willing to work with people to do it in times that work for them, because I want people to learn how to listen. So if you're interested, please go to my website, drjacalyn.com, and you can look up right there. It says The Power of Listening, and you can book your tickets on Eventbrite. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you again to all of you out there. Thank you to Roland, and thank you to Bill. We look forward to having you back another time. Please stay safe. Give yourself some grace. And again, I hope you take away from this show, you're not alone. There are people who want to help you. Bill's got a great program. Roland's out there helping people every day with his coaching. So just reach out. Thank you again. God bless you all.